What is going on, everybody? This is TPL, and we are doing the Sixers post-game show for y'all for the Sixers versus the Jazz. And let me tell you, not a fun game to watch. Not a fun game to watch whatsoever. But we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about it. Sixers lose 118-96. I'm here with my boys, Dibes and Tiago. Guys, let's talk about it. Dibes, you go first, man. What are you thinking?
I mean, you're going to talk about offense tonight. Lack thereof by Doc Rivers. I mean, when does it start? When does the conversation start of everything we have talked about over the last several weeks? The Sixers offense is sputtering, and that's to say it politely. You look at Joel Embiid, you look at Tobias Harris since returning with Tyrese Maxey in November. The Sixers offense has been awful. Awful, awful, awful. And that goes to Furkan Korkmaz. Furkan Korkmaz, who's shooting 20% from three over the last 15 games. Furkan Korkmaz was, again, terrible tonight. He shot 0 of 5 from three-point range. There has been many, many reasons why, Sixers fans should be kind of upset right now because nothing is changing with this offense. Doc has to see, the pudding, the proof is in the pudding. This is not working, and adjustments have to be made.
Okay, I couldn't unmute the mic for a second. There we go. Honestly, I don't think anything you said there was incorrect. It's hard to watch right now. Tiago, what are you thinking?
I mean, we're at the point of the season where the Sixers look a lot closer to the I would say the Indiana Pacers than they do the Brooklyn Nets. And that's just the reality where we're at right now in the season. I don't think anybody would look at this team and not think they're a play-in tournament team right now. And I don't care what you think about, Ben Simmons, what they're missing, blah, 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 blah. If you have an MVP level player on your team, which Joel Embiid is, there's absolutely no way you should be trending towards a play-in tournament team, period, flat out. There's no way. And for the Sixers to be in this position, I understand there's, COVID-related things at play, but I'll also argue that the stuff we saw early in the year was a little bit of fool's gold. And I think this is a team that closely resembles what they actually are right now. And that is a problem. Even without Ben Simmons on the roster, that is a problem. This team should be playing better than what they are. Doesn't mean they should have even pulled out a win against Utah. But to be completely outclassed by a team that is supposedly to be a top contender for at least a conference final, that's unexcusable. And I have a lot of thoughts about the game, but I also think we have the conversation, big picture, about what we're seeing as a whole from the franchise.
Yeah, I think the first thing I want to touch on, I just keep hearing echo. I don't know where it's from. The thing, what is this? Can somebody explain to me why doesn't Joe get any burn? We can talk about that first if y'all want to. If that's the big topic you guys want to talk about, Isaiah Joe.
No, I mean, it's beyond evident. I just said, Furkan Korkmaz has yet to hit a barn over these last month plus here. He does nothing. Like, at least at the beginning of the season, he gave you a little shot creation. At least he gave you a little ball handling. But it has not been that case. Tiago, when does this happen? When does the page turn? Because Furkan Korkmaz hasn't done anything in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the fact that Isaiah Joe doesn't get any burn speaks to the arrogance of the coaching staff. And Justin and I were talking about before the podcast, for you to think that you come in against the Utah Jazz, right? The deepest team in the NBA. I mean, they got legitimately two starting lineups.
They have Rudy Gay as their third power forward, basically off the bench.
They have two starting lineups on this team. That's how deep they are. And for you to think that you can roll out an all-bench for you to think that you can roll out an all-bench lineup for 6 minutes, and survive the game is just flat-out arrogance. And that, to me, is coaching. And that is the same stuff that we were talking about last year with the Sixers. it is one of the main reasons why they lost a playoff series against Atlanta, in which Doc Rivers decided to, at that point, scapegoat the entire thing on Ben Simmons. When he was running out bench lineups for extended runs, when all the data suggests stop doing this shit. And he's doing it again this year, and he's doing it again against the top team in the NBA. So for you to expect us anything differently once the Sixers roll out an all-bench lineup tonight is insane. And the fact that Joe doesn't play is also insane, because I tweeted this during the game. What are you getting from Korkmaz and Thibault offensively that warrants Joe being on the bench? Does any of you guys have an answer? Because I ran out of answers right now.
I was like ready to run through a wall when Matisse Thybulle had 7 points in the fucking first quarter. I was like, what? Like this was like the multiverse of Sixers, and I have no idea what I was watching. It was crazy. It was attacking the rim. It didn't continue, but yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and I think not only is the coaching bothering me, but the personnel, you can tell, just doesn't fit the type of offense that Doc is trying to run at this point. And even, I mean, last year we saw this as a problem with the Sixers. Is even last year, a lot of times the types of offense they wanted to run didn't always suit the players. For like the ISO ball they're trying to run with Tobias and with Joe 24/7, it feels like it's just not it all the time. Now in transition at times they've seemed okay, but now all of a sudden Joel Embiid is enacting not only his ISO role but also Ben Simmons' drive down full court and either score it or pass out to the 3-point line. Like, you see, they're trying to implement that with Joel now. It's been a consistent thing. They're not even giving the ball to Tyrese in full court anymore. Now it's Joel going down.
It's like it's Joel Embiid and Seth Curry, 2-man game. Then it's Tobias Harris, give him the ball with 5 seconds left. Then it's Danny Green corner 3, and then it's Tyrese Maxey. It has been an abomination, for this offense, for how they have completely relegated Tyrese Maxey off the court the last several games. I have no explanation why Doc, or didn't see it, that Doc has saw the last November and saw his mid-range game go from here to there, his shot creation go from here to there, and he is not in this offense whatsoever.
To be fair, Maxey did take 10 shots today instead of like 4. So to be fair, not that that's that good, but
to his credit, it was after he got straight concussed and was like literally like dead.
Oh, it shocked me that he was back on the floor.
I couldn't believe he came back on the floor.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, if that were a football player, they would not be playing right now if they hit their head on the ground.
I've been concussed many times in my life in sports. That guy was straight staring in space for 2 minutes. I could not believe he came back into this game.
Can I make a point about Maxey? Because he was more aggressive today. But the whole point, how I see Maxey, is the development as a player, right? And I'll even make the argument, even that when he is scoring as a player, they're not really developing him. And what I mean by that is he's mostly being used as a shot player. Like how the Sixers use JJ Redick, right? Dribble handoff. You run a dribble handoff action, you come off the screen and you shoot. Like the Sixers don't have Tyrese Maxey running offense. What they have him is working off dribble handoffs and attacking the rim. Like that does not develop you as a player. That may develop you as a scorer, but Tyrese Maxey is a point guard in theory.
Everything runs through Joel.
It runs to Joel, and when it doesn't work, the offense is a disaster. It is an absolute disaster. So you have to figure out ways of orchestrating offense in different methods. And the Sixers have none of that going on right now. Zero. Absolutely zero.
We have seen the Sixers double down on post play with Joel Embiid. Is that a Doc Rivers problem, or is that a Joel Embiid problem, or is that a Doc and Joel problem? I want to know, like, especially Tiago, like, what is your take on that? Because we have seen that exponentially increase over last week.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about this when they first hired Doc, and I thought that it was not a good hire for a variety of reasons. And one of the reasons why I noted that is the fact that with the Clippers, so when you had Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, it was an isolation-driven offense, kind of like what we see today with the Sixers. The big difference is that in LA, he had Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, 2 guards, swing forwards type players. The Sixers don't have an isolation guard on the offense. They just don't. I mean, Maxey, but he's not at that level where you can consistently go to him over the course of the game. So your isolation player becomes Joel Embiid. And that's where the Sixers are at offensively. They have to isolate Joel Embiid over and over again because Doc Rivers is not creative enough to generate offense outside of basic isolation principles. When you have Kawhi Leonard, when you have Paul George, when you have Chris Paul, things go smoother. When you have Joel Embiid, it's not as smooth. And that's where we're at again with the offense. It does not look smooth because your coach is an isolation-driven coach, period. And that's where they're at right now with the offense. So I don't know where to go from here. And I think we have to have the conversation around general manager, owner. What do they want this team to look like moving forward? Because I have a lot of thoughts around Daryl Morey and ownership. And I think it's time for us to having those conversations a little more detail.
I will say, I think we know exactly. Okay. Dives is like, good job. But I think I know exactly like what the GM and the coach want. And it's what they tried to get last year during the season. And it's what they tried to get all off season. And that is an isolation type of point guard. They want to get a Damian Lillard. They want to get a James Harden. They want to get a guy who can score on his own, but also play make and run the types of offense they run with Joel, but on the perimeter. That's what they want. They want isolation scorers. You could see that by how they play Tobias, how they play Joel. The problem is, and this is why I said in the beginning, is yes, I don't think that Doc is coaching with his personnel in the best way that he can, but I also think like the personnel that he has with the type of offense that the team itself, not just the coach, but the team is trying to run is just not ideal. Like I feel like, I mean, either unless it's the players think they're more than they are, think that they're more than they are.
Justin, like isolation basketball is what wins the postseason. There's 100%. Absolutely no way you should be the 30th base offense in the NBA with a guy like Tyrese Maxey on the roster. No way. And the fact that you don't have a lead guard that you can isolate like Dame should give you extra incentives to build an offense that can win beyond isolation.
I agree with you.
Have 0 turnovers to isolation. 30th pace offense, bottom of the league in transition. That is a coaching problem. And the fact that the Sixers continue to run this garbage offensively is nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. I'm sorry. So
no, listen, you don't have to apologize to anybody, but to anybody on this call. I'm simply saying that to me, I think that's what they want to do. And yes, I think it has a lot to do with this comment that the Cleva is saying. It's stubbornness. It's stubbornness of this is our offense. This is how we're going to run it. But it's not working, obviously. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is because in my head, in my opinion, the 2 guys that they had a slight chance on, obviously Harden was probably their biggest chance of bringing in a guy who is a legit difference maker on the perimeter. But like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what their answer is at this point that's going to make a solid difference in the offense that they're trying to run. Who is the guy besides maybe a Bradley Beal?
That's what I was going to say.
Even that is a long shot still. Like, even that is like, you don't really know. So it's like, sure, you could say maybe De'Aaron Fox is a guy who the Kings are going to want to get rid of, but even he isn't the player you're looking for to put alongside the guys you have. So it's like, what's the answer? I don't know.
I don't think there is a real answer to this. And I've kind of like addressed this in podcasts past. Like, Tiago, I'm sorry. Like, the Sixers team is what it is. I think we're having a reality check of what this Sixers team is and what they're going to be this year. And that means a Ben Simmons trade that probably won't fulfill. A Sixers roster with pieces on the table that probably won't fit. And this is what we're looking at is, you know, a team that has major flaws, a coach with major flaws, and nothing is fitting whatsoever. And it is what it is, man. I don't know what else to say, bro. Is that
I don't buy it though for this reason. I mean, Daryl Morey has been on this team for over a year.
This is not his team, though.
But here's the thing: you have slow decision makers on this team, right? Tobias Harris, perfect example. Danny Green, well, not Danny Green, but Seth Curry, those guys. Anyways, what I'm trying to get to is you have to insert your blueprint on this team. If you can't change the coach, you have to insert your imprint from a roster construction point of view. And what I mean by that is have guys on your roster that can complement, for instance, Tyrese Maxey, right? So you want to run offense through Joel Embiid, that's fine. We all think that's the best approach to do that. But you have to have guys on the roster that run, are quick decision makers, cut, and you have to incentivize your coach to play those players. That's his job. And right now, Daryl Morey is not doing his job. This is a slow team. This is a slow team. Last year, you had Tobias Harris. For the first order of business, I don't care what, is to get rid of Tobias Harris' contract, period. You have to get quick decision makers on the roster. You have to. Absolutely have to. So the fact that they're not doing that right now, to me, is a general manager problem on top of a coaching problem. I'm sorry, like that's how I see it.
So see,
wait.
Okay,
Hasn't this been a Sixers issue forever, or over the last 5 years? You look at Brett Brown, you look at Elton Brand. You know, Brett Brown wants pace and space. Elton Brand signs Al Horford, wants to be a physical, down low, offense, defensive team. Like, we're seeing the same things. We're seeing the same kind of pattern. We're seeing the same things that, the coach and the GM aren't on the same page regarding, where this team is heading. Is that incorrect?
I mean, to a certain extent, I think it is. But it doesn't take a genius to look at the roster and be like, pair Tyrese Maxey with a stretch 5 so you can run spread pick and roll.
Yeah, but
you watch Chicago Bulls.
We've been saying that for years with Ben, and they still never did that really. Like, it's the first. This is the first season where they've had a guy that can legit play at the 5 if they wanted to put Ben in the lineup, and George Niang, and Ben left. So.
I mean, we're going to go in circles around this. I think there are moves to be made within this roster now that does 100%. Not include Ben Simmons.
100%.
That can put the team in a better position to compete.
Now, I agree with you. Now,
by put in better position to compete, what is that ceiling, Thiago? Like, for real for you.
Right now, it's above a play-in tournament team. And you guess what? I mean, you owe Joel Embiid that. If you can't get Joel Embiid,
all right. I had a different response in my head for that. Okay.
What did you think it was going to be?
I thought you were going to be like, NBA Finals. Like,
no, they're not NBA Finals team.
Yeah.
Simmons. You owe Joel Embiid that. I mean, the garbage that he has around Joel Embiid is embarrassing.
See, I feel like
embarrassing.
I feel like what Daryl is going to Joel saying right now, like, listen, man, I know it's tough. I know you have to play, like, put everything out there to even try to win a game right now. But I don't want to trade assets just for nothing for you to waste even more time. And then we have no assets to actually move to get positive assets back for winning games. So it's like, I feel like that's why Joel is probably okay with what's happening right now. And maybe not okay, but can I
make just one more point and I'll shut up? And I'll shut up because I know you guys are let's say.
Keep going.
The Quentin point around they need a new coach, that's on Joel Embiid. Because Joel Embiid, the moment he speaks up, I want a new coach, this coach is gone. And I don't know how Joel Embiid looks at this every single night, having to put the offense in his back every single night and think that this is okay. That Doc Rivers is the good coach, and we're just going to ride this thing to a championship wave.
See, I think Joe. See,
he's got to speak up.
I think Joe likes that he gives him. I think Joe likes that he's giving him all this responsibility, though.
No, don't say that.
I think it's true. I think Joel likes that the team is given to him, and that he gets opportunity to take all these mid-range jump shots and to do the fancy stuff he likes to do. I think Joel likes that. Now, I think that Joel wishes. What's up?
That can't happen. That was the big thing we learned last year, is that too much Joel Embiid is a bad thing. Joel Embiid can't do it all himself. It was basically Joel Embiid, Seth Curry, two-man game in the Atlanta series. We have to have more variety, more ball movement, more off-ball movement, more cutting to the basket, something more to give to this offense other than what we saw in that playoff series. We're seeing literally the same fucking thing right now. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So the fact that, Doc has Joel Embiid in his pocket that, you can have your 40% usage rate and you're okay with it. That's a big, I can't go there. I cannot.
Yeah, I don't think Joel is that player. I think Joel truly wants to win. And I think if Joel truly wants to win, he wants to take his career to the next level. He's got to be honest about where the team's at right now. And if he thinks that Doc Rivers is the right coach, then Doc Rivers is the right coach. I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest otherwise. And it's up to Joel Embiid to speak up against his coach eventually to get him out of here. Because the moment that he does, it's gone. It's over.
It's not working. It's not working. We have seen it. How many games? Is it like 30 games? Are we at 30? I'm not sure, but you look at Tyrese Maxey is just relegated out of this entire offense. You look at Tobias Harris, who has taken major steps back. You look at Furkan Korkmaz, who you cannot even play right now. And you have a lot of players that on defense that are getting exposed against more athletic guards and wings in this NBA. So there has to be a response. There has to be a response from Doc Rivers, is what we're talking about, right, Tiago?
We just lost our host, man. I think
he's gone. He's gone.
We just spoke Justin out of existence.
Oh man, it is a really tough thing to watch, right, Tiago? Like when you're trying to watch a team and you see things that are not going the right way, but you also have a coach that is doing the same thing over and over and over again, and there are no adjustments. There is no adjustments when it comes to the totem pole of the offense, and something has to change. Something has to change. And Tiago just completely nailed it out of the ballpark, is that it truly comes from Joel Embiid. And wouldn't it be funny if it came out eventually that it was Ben Simmons that said, I don't want to be on this team because of Doc Rivers. And he was the one, ironically, that was brought in to, put those two together. So anyway, it's a mess. It's a straight up mess. All right, I'm done.
Justin, you good over there? He's still struggling.
Oh, no. He's out. He's out. All right. Tiago, who's your player of the game?
Who's my player of the game? My player of the game is Isaiah Joe. I'm just joking. It's slim pickings right now, I'll be honest with you. I don't have a player of the game. I think that the Sixers played an absolutely horrendous game. I thought that their approach to defending Donovan Mitchell was disgraceful. To think that you can play drop, pick, and roll coverage on Donovan Mitchell early in the shot clock is insane, because this guy's, the moment he crosses midcourt, he's calling for a screen and going up for a three. I mean, that is classic Donovan Mitchell. He does not look to pass. He looks to shoot and drive to the basket. And at no point in time the Sixers ever were interested in making Donovan Mitchell a passer tonight. I think that's disgraceful, their approach to defense. Utah is an extremely hard team to defend. They run that spread pick and roll concept to perfection. I mean, I wish you could show what spacing looks like under Utah and then what spacing is with the Sixers. It's like two different offenses. But that said, I thought that their approach to defense was embarrassing, and they get Fs across the board, Chris. Absolute Fs across the board. And if they don't get something right, they're gonna lose by 30 to the Warriors.
No question. Quentin Morris says player of the game goes to Justin's ISP. That's awesome. That's awesome. Quentin Moore says, I agree with you both. Embiid should demand a new coach, but Embiid probably likes hero ball more. That can't happen. That cannot happen. Cole D-Man says Donovan can pass and does sometimes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give my player game to Tyrese. And I think I said it at the beginning of the show. Like the fact that he went down literally straight on his fucking face and came up and had 11 points in this game. I mean, I love the toughness he showed tonight. 5 of 10 from the field. He had 3 boards. He had 2 assists. He had 2 steals. There's not a lot of love to give in this game, but Tyrese Maxey, we got your back, brother. We're in your corner to hopefully one day reshape this offense and get this going on the right foot. So, Tiago, where can we find you, man? What do you got going on?
Man, you can find me here at the Painted Lines at @tskybe on Twitter. And I've been thinking about writing an article about where I think the Sixers should go next. And I've been putting some thoughts around where that is. I kind of shared them a little bit on this podcast. GM's got to step up, man. Like, it's time.
It has to be.
It's time. It's been over 12 months. I get your situation is a tough one, but you also put yourself in the situation, right? You put Ben Simmons on the trade market the moment you got here. You pissed the guy off. Coach didn't help. Player played like crap. It all turned into a shitburger. You're part of the problem. Now you got to be part of the solution. It's time, Lori. It's time. It's been over 12 months. It's time.
Yeah. All right. My man, Tiago at @tskybe. Please be sure to give him a follow. Best Sixers Twitter follow. I've had a long day. I've had a Christmas party for work. I've had 2 shows before this. So I'm hanging in. I'm hanging in. We've got Quinn Moore says TPL is better than the actual game. We've got a comment that says trade everyone but Ben. Love it, love it, love it. And do any other teams do all bench lineups? I actually don't know that. But
not the Jazz. Not the
Jazz. Yeah, Jazz are super deep. They are super deep. What do we got tomorrow? We've got the Wheel of Time review. Awesome show. If you love Lord of the Rings, there's a new show on Amazon called Wheel of Time. It's really fun. Doing a review of that of episode 5. Saturday is our Christmas movie draft. I've got the 5th pick in the draft. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to crush that 100%. And then, of course, we're getting ready for Spider-Man. We've got Eagles post-game live coming Sunday, and then a shit ton of content coming with Spider-Man and everything else Sixers. We'll be back for everything Sixers content. Tiago, what are we doing our next morning cup of Joe? Because it's been a while.
I can do one tomorrow if you want. I can pick out a bunch of stuff for us to break down if you like.
The problem is it's so depressing. Like, it's just
we gotta keep it 100. Let me know when you're ready, man. I can break this down. All right,
let's do one tomorrow. You want to do it tomorrow? Let's do it.
We'll do 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, let's do it tomorrow, 5:30 in the morning. We'll break down what we do a morning cup of Joe, me and Tiago, where we literally break down what went wrong or what went right for the Sixers. Mostly what went wrong. This is how the season has gone so far this year. Unfortunately, we're not trying. Just do what we do. We're gonna call it out as it goes. Yeah, it's how it is, man. So make sure you follow my man Tiago on Twitter at @tskybe. Amazing Sixers Twitter follow. I am Dibes. Thanks for watching, guys. For Tiago, for myself, stay awesome.